Today we celebrate the solemnity of the Ascension of the Lord. And during this time of homily, I like to do two things. The first is that I want to just give you a very, very brief homily on the Ascension, so you can thank me after Mass for the brief homily. And the second thing, I want to talk about the fact that today is our commitment weekend for our Building Our Community Capital campaign. I want to give you an opportunity to make a pledge here from your pew, if that's something that you're moved to do. So starting with the first thing, right, brief homily on the Ascension. Today we celebrate when the Lord ascended into heaven. And we could say a lot of things about this, but just one brief thing about what this means is that Jesus goes before to where we are to follow. Jesus goes before us to where we are to follow. You know, when Jesus resurrected, right, he was there to die no more. Let's say he hadn't ascended to heaven. He was just there hanging out for all eternity here on earth. We would have thought, the apostles would have thought that, okay, this is it. We're made for this world. But we're not. Right? We're not made for this world. Our destiny is heaven. We're made for heaven. Right? We're only here for 60, 80, 100 years maybe. That's it. Then we have eternity. So Jesus had to leave. He had to go to ascend to heaven to show us where our ultimate destiny is. He goes before us to where we are to follow. And so a lot of about our life is just preparing for this. Preparing for when it is our time to finally follow behind Him and go and spend eternity with the most holy Trinity in heaven giving worship. So that's a homily right there. Brief, like I said. Trying to be honest here. All right, and then, okay, today is our commitment weekend regarding capital campaign. So I actually want to link it to something that I see here in the gospel. There's two things that happen in the gospel before Jesus ascends. One is that the disciples there around Him worship Him. They worship the Lord. And then after that, Jesus sends them to make disciples of all nations. They worship Him, and then He sends them out that others may come to know Him, love Him, and serve Him. We could say that here in this image of what's going on in the gospel is the summary of what it means to be a Christian. To be a Christian, our main thing, right, the most important thing we can do is give worship to the Lord. It's what we're going to do in heaven for eternity. We worship Him. And that's what you're here doing today on Sunday. Every Sunday we come to give Him worship to Mass. Mass is not about us. It's not about getting something. It's about giving. We come to give the Lord worship because we owe it to Him. Just like they're doing here in the mountain. And then you leave and you go to your work, and it's not just about, okay, where religion gets paused for the week until next Sunday. No. You go to make disciples. You go to be light of the world, to be salt of the earth. And then hopefully bring people to know the Lord, to love Him, and then come here and worship Him. It's this whole cycle. We worship Him, we go out, we come back, and hopefully we bring others with us to worship Him. And this, I think, has to do something with our commitment weekend, because the mission of our parish, right, the mission of St. Elizabeth Catholic Church is these two things. Worship the Lord, and then to go and evangelize and bring other people to worship the Lord, right? And one of the things we're experiencing as a parish is that we need space for this. We need space to be equipped to worship Him better. We need space for being equipped to go and evangelize more. We need space for us to grow as a community precisely for this whole thing, to worship Him and then to go and evangelize. We need space. So this is what our capital campaign is about. We're trying to fundraise $4.9 million for 3 projects that have to do with space that allow us to do this whole thing of worshiping Him and being equipped to evangelize. First project is we want to expand our parish hall, make it double the size, right, and remodel it, make it new. Second project, we want to finish the second floor of our religious education building because we do not have enough classrooms. And the third thing has to do with a certain amount of money that we owe to the diocese, because we were supposed to do a capital campaign a few years ago for them and we didn't do it. Now we're trying to catch up and also do that for them. So these are 3 things. Now, how are we going to be able to gather this much money? It's actually not that much when you have a lot of people help. We're 4,000 families in this parish. That is plenty of enough. If everybody just gives a little bit what they can in their budget, it's super doable. And so we're asking people to make a pledge. Make a pledge to 5 years, right? Like when you buy a car, what do? It's really expensive, so you just commit, doing a monthly payment for 5 years. So when you buy your home, you can't just buy it unless you have tons of money, and so you commit to 30 years or whatever, right, and make a monthly payment. So the way in which we can pay for these buildings is if all of us contribute a little bit for 5 years just to make a monthly payment. Now, unlike your car, if like after a year, let's say you lose your job, you can cancel your pledge. So if something goes, wrong, you can cancel your pledge. We're not gonna go and like take your house or something, your car, okay? It's not gonna happen. Or if you win the lottery and you want to give more, can you increase your pledge after a year? Yes, you can do that. You get a promotion and you're like, oh, I can pledge more. Can you increase the pledge after a year? Yes, you can do that too. And so it's not a legally binding pledge. It's just kind of between you and the Lord. Right? What is the Lord asking me to do for this parish? Right? The Lord has blessed you abundantly. If you had breakfast this morning, He's blessed you to be able to buy food. If you had a bed to sleep last night, He's blessed you with work to be able to pay for your home. Right? If you have a car to get here, the Lord has blessed you abundantly. And He's also blessed you with this church. Most of you, some of you did, but most of you didn't pay for this church. And you're using it. Great gift that other people left us. So we want to do the same for others. We want to make a commitment with the Lord. What can I contribute, Lord, to this project, for this parish that has to do with the mission of the Christian, being worship to Him and going and evangelizing? And if I can make a pledge, great. This is how much I can do it, and great. And all of us together, if we all join, it's pretty easy.